Welcome to another episode of Spotlight on the Arts. My name is Johnny Miranda, chairman of the Chicopee Cultural Council. February is Black History Month, and it's a time to celebrate the accomplishments of Black Americans throughout history. Today, we're going to meet two local artists who have left their mark through their work, Mark Austin and Shaughnessy. First up, we have Mark Austin, a multidisciplinary local artist from Western Massachusetts who's worked for the city of Springfield and has been responsible for many of the public artworks and murals that you see around the city. He is also a multimedia artist, and he has an amazing work that has inspired a lot of the other local artists and certainly deserves recognition in Black History Month. Mark Austin, welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. Thank you for bringing us some of your work, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Definitely. We can see all the multimedia, and we can see how different your work is. And I'd like to learn a little bit more about what inspires you to be so creative.
Oh man, first of all, I appreciate being here. Thank you for the opportunity. It kind of just comes from inside. I dig deep inside myself, and I find different things that jog my interest, pique my interest, and they kind of come to the surface of me through my work.
And what do you think is one of the ways in which you can purposely place yourself in that state of mind where you can get creative?
Oh man, you know, herbal tea, stuff
Great.
like that, relaxation, meditation, self-care. Those are things that I kind of use to dig deep in
One of the
myself.
things that I have seen in social media that I really love about you and your process is that you engage with your audience and you engage with your public in topics of social discussion.
Yeah.
And then from that conversation, work comes that inspires. So I think that dynamic of you engaging with your audience and producing work in response to that engagement is admirable. And I think that it speaks about how your work reflects what's the reality of our time.
Oh, I appreciate that.
That's Black history, right? Black history and Black art narrate our story, narrate our moments in time. And how would you consider your art to be standing in our current Black history?
Oh, that's a big question. I'm actually I have a lot of gratitude. I'm very grateful to be a part of our art community here, but nationwide or even globally, I feel that we all have a voice, something that we can contribute to the happiness, the sadness that we experience in the diaspora. And I feel like each of us has a responsibility to get our voice out in any way that we can. You know what I mean? I feel like it's important. In my way, I keep it as creative as possible, and I try to enlighten, but also just kind of instigate sometimes deeper levels of thought, you know, in the greater conversation, but also on social media. So I kind of tie my posts into releasing my work, and I like for my audience, which I can't really say they're fans, they're more like family. I engage with them and keep them a part of everything that I'm doing so that they can see that they can be creative as well, try to inspire.
And that's amazing. Do you think that you have any particular Black artist that has been of an inspiration for you?
Let me see. Basquiat was recently, not a long time ago, maybe in the recent last 5 years, I got into Basquiat more and his story and things that he was kind of a part of. And I actually did a class with the children recently where you know there was not comparative. I can never compare, but it was more so just showing him the facets of his work and showing him the multidimensional facets of my work. But honestly, I love all of our artists. There's so many artists that I could name, but honestly, I try to dig deep in myself because I feel like I have something to offer that none of them do, you know?
And that's amazing. You have been gracious enough to bring 4 of your pieces, and we're gonna talk a little bit about them because they look beautiful. I love to look at how diverse your work is. how colorful it is, how creative and outside of the box it is. And I think that digs also deep into the conversation, not just the content, but the process. So I think that's amazing. Let's talk about this first piece that we have right here. What do you call it if it has a name? Not every piece has a name. And what inspired you to create this?
This one, I believe this is Untitled.
Okay.
It's Untitled. It's a mixed media piece. It's using different epoxies, which are resins. It's a two-part polymer that is kind of popular these days, but it mixes in two parts. It's essentially liquid plastic. I cut some plywood, and I believe that's some more plywood in the back. It's a cherry type texture, and I assembled it into a notan, which is kind of like a Japanese form of art. So the black little pieces, they connect and form a visual image, but then if you look at the negative space surrounding those pieces, it also forms an image. So from any angle you view it is a different piece, essentially. You can view it from any angle you want, hang it, display it from any angle you want.
It's amazing, and it's so creative. We also have this beautiful piece that what talks about police brutality, I would assume, or the school to prison pipeline. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that one's a little bit of all of that. That one, that's a special piece to me. I created this over the space of maybe 2 years. The larger image of the man is actually indicative of the power structure that that we deal with, kind of as brown, black, melanated people in America. And in his arm are different things that would be used to kind of thwart our efforts, thwart our upward growth, our upward mobility, right? So you have, religion's sometimes been weaponized against us. You have handcuffs that they use to keep us down. You got drugs. A lot of people in our community have drug issues. And then the anger, the violence, the broken things, and also even the camera, the cell phone camera, and the Jordans, speaking to the hyper-consumerism and the surveillance, kind of the overabundance of the surveillance and the stepping on a lot of our civil rights and liberties also.
No, certainly, it's unquestionable how through art you can make a statement and have people open up to a conversation about, how our problems are bigger than just these day-to-day situations. It's an institutionalized problem.
Yes, sir.
And it's a power structure problem. So it definitely is a piece that connects and has an impact.
Thank you.
Then we have this beautiful piece in the back that kind of reminds me of a similar negative and positive background as the first piece we talked about. You can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that one, thank you, I appreciate that. That one's Uplift. It's cardstock on cardstock. A similar idea to the first one. It's a notan Japanese kind of elemental design. So what I did was I drew on the black cardstock first, and then I cut out all of the things that I drew, and I rearranged them on the white cardstock to convey the emotions, the feelings. So if you concentrate on the black, it'll be 50 million things. If you concentrate on the white, it can be 50 million things, kind of like a Rorschach test. It appeals to the part of your subconscious that you are in,
That's
from
amazing.
day to day. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And then lastly, this piece is one of my favorite pieces. And I was watching you on social media as you were going through the creative process of this piece. I am completely in awe, and I'd love for you to, talk a little bit about it, talk about the multimedia incorporation into your work and how impactful this piece is.
Oh, thank you. This piece here, I've gotten so much great feedback from it. It's kind of an ode to femininity. I have a high degree of respect for women. I have a lot of women in my family, and I see myself as their protector. And so even women at large, they're very near and dear to me. So it kind of starts as the man on the bottom, and he's casting his gaze up, and through him seeing different aspects of the women, right? So you have her in her calm state. Then you move up kind of as she kind of realizes different aspects of herself. She moves backwards, and she becomes more of that ephemeral idea of femininity that we have, and so I use different materials. This is actually a crystal that I got from a 120-year-old chandelier in the studio I work in. It was donated to me, so I was able to incorporate some of those really old relics and elements into it. And it culminates at her being her original self, realizing her fullest potential and balance in the universe.
Yeah. And I like that, the symbolism of placing the matriarchy at the top of your work,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I think that is very impactful. I think that your work speaks to the people. I think that your work speaks to the reality of Black Americans.
Mm-hmm.
I think that not just Black Americans, but it speaks to anyone in need of expression. You know, this is definitely a way for us to have a voice. You've certainly achieved that. Why do you think Black history is important?
Oh, Black history is fundamental for us to know ourselves, each of us, at least to begin the journey to realizing what we are, not just necessarily what we do, but also realizing what we are and using that as the centerpiece moving forward. So I feel like it's the most important thing for us to throw it back to our ancestors, ourselves, and do a lot of self-realization on this journey that we're all on called life. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. And Mark, where can people find you?
Check everywhere online. Mark Austin is crazy. Instagram, Mark Austin is crazy. I'm on YouTube, Mark Austin is crazy, and I'm on Facebook, Mark Austin, and I have a website, www.markaustiniscrazy.com.
So you heard it.
Check me out.
Mark Austin is crazy. Mark, we really thank you for joining us here on Spotlight on the Arts.
Appreciate you.
Up next, we have Shaughnessy. Shaughnessy is another local artist who's definitely left their mark in Black history in our region. Shaughnessy rather dwells as an uncategorized artist, and she claims to have been given wings by a butterfly, making her creations limitless. Shaughnessy, or Shawnee Craft, welcome to an episode of Spotlight on the Arts.
Wow.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So I can see that your art is amazing. It is definitely very uncategorized. It's a multimedia creations. And tell me a little bit about what motivated Shaughnessy to pursue art.
Absolutely. Well, I've been a creative since a young child. In 2016, after the loss of my daughter, I realized that I wasn't living in my purpose, you know? So basically, I moved forth pushing just to make sure that her legacy lives on through me, and that's what birthed Shawnee Crafts.
That's definitely an amazing story, and definitely goes to show that we all have different motivators and reasons for the things we do and the way we express them. You have a very peculiar work. I love seeing how you've incorporated in many of your works hair and external multimedia items.
Yes.
Tell me about that, which I think has been something that's branded Shawnee Crafts.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I have a background in cosmetology, auto technician. I bake, I paint. I'm a crafter within itself. And I prefer to dwell in no lane. I feel like why set boundaries? So instead of just being a painter, nothing against painters, I love painters. I prefer to put craft on canvas, you know. So hence what you see before you.
Yeah, no. And why do you think that it's important for us as Black artists to create and to continue creating?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the imagination is a beautiful thing, and it's something that should never die. I feel as though those that had opened doors for others and changed the narrative with a lot of things were people who pushed forth their imagination. As a Black artist, I think it's even more so important that, you know, the fact that we lost a lot of our history, I feel as though it's a big deal to make sure we step in our history now. I like to call it her story, you know, and leave our footprint.
Definitely. And that's an important aspect of American Black history. American Black history is Black history. If you look at the artwork throughout the history of Black people in our nation,
Yes.
you can see how the Black history has unraveled itself.
Absolutely.
So it's important for us to continue creating because we are continuing to make history, and this is just part of it. Let's talk about these pieces that you brought us.
Okay.
Let's talk about this first one in red.
All right, so the first one in red is a reminder that I am my ancestor. So as you can see, it's created with reds, browns, beiges, representing the African American line, the Native American line, the Caucasian line that runs through myself, my family, and it's just basically all within her face. She has the jewels of royalty on her, head draped, you know, locks flowing, and the butterflies, of course, because she was created as the butterfly, as she is a portrait of myself. She also comes with or has the 2 vase on canvas creations that I like to make with the flowers, the snuffleupagus eyelashes, because we like to be extra around here. Yeah.
It's lovely. It's lovely. I love that you incorporate the butterflies, and the butterflies is something that it's a brand for you. I think that it identifies you. I've seen it in a lot of your work.
Absolutely.
Even in your introduction, you've been given wings by a butterfly to create Limitless.
Absolutely.
So I think this is amazing, and I see this, and I see you, and I see the same thing right now if I have you side by side.
Yes.
Let's talk about the second piece in purple.
Yeah, absolutely. So the second piece is actually created for a woman by the name of Miss K. She's a fashion designer in Springfield. She's actually having a fashion show coming this weekend. She asked for a piece, so I decided it's only right to put fashion on canvas for her. So she actually posted a picture that just captured me. So I just recreated that picture on canvas and of course incorporated the flower vase combination.
Great, so we have Miss K made into a piece of work.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Tell, when is that fashion show?
So that fashion show is this Friday, the 27th? Is that Saturday? I always do this. And it's a virtual fashion show.
Okay.
And I believe it will be on Miss K online on Facebook.
Great, great. That's amazing. One thing I do want to highlight is that you've been running a program
Yes.
out of the ethnic studies
Yes.
in Springfield.
Yes.
Tell me about that project.
Oh, sure. So it's called Creative Expressions. Last year actually was our first class of Creative Expressions. It's basically allowing children to get their hands in the crafts. You know, I know a lot of times, you know, we get like paint sets and different small things, but I like to think of what I would have liked as a child. And I know that as a child, if somebody said, hey, here's clay, hey, here's the clothing, here, what are you gonna do? It probably would have opened many doors for me. I mean, I've been doing art classes for students since about 2012. A friend of mine, Tatiana, said, hey, Shaughnessy, I'm ready to push on an art class. What are we doing? And I said, oh, I'm ready too. So she actually works on the board of Arise for Social Justice. We came together, and right now we have the Black History Creative Expressions going on, and it's highlighting African American creatives from the past, and also highlighting creatives that actually live today, showing how they open the doors and allowing the students to touch different mediums to create.
Yeah, I think that it is so important what you're doing in that aspect, because young individuals and youth need to be exposed to this type of creative process as an outlet so that they can channel all the things that they're experiencing. I mean, we have a generation that has experienced a pandemic, an economic depression, has experienced bigotry and misogyny.
Ooh, yes.
Outright.
Yes.
And I think that those things have an impact in our mindset, in our youth, and being able to teach them ways in which they can channel those things they experience is amazing and empowering.
Exactly.
So on behalf of our community, I want to thank you, first off, for giving that opportunity to our youth.
Yes, all right, thank you.
Where can people find you, Shaughnessy?
Sure, you can find me on Instagram at I am Shawnee Craft, on Instagram at Shawnee's Crafts. I'm on Facebook, Shaughnessy Ann. I like to kind of deal with my introvert side by just leaving it there. So nice. Yeah, actually www.theladysoldiers.com as well. The Lady Soldiers was founded in 2018 by Regina Hudson. Regina thought it would be great to put a couple of women that she knew together to tell their stories in order to encourage empowerment. She says that we are stronger together. So with that, we all got together, we all wrote a book, so we're all self-published authors now. I mean, the book has been bought in Japan and Canada and the Dominican Republic, and it has now transferred into an organization. So, I mean, we were doing baby food drives. We've given away food for Thanksgiving. Oh my gosh, just different Zoom meetings and now we've got LTC classes for the community, highlighting women, you know, because safety is important. We're also doing a spiritual paint session next month. We're just going to keep this going to empower as many women as possible.
Thank you, Shaughnessy.
Thank you.
And tune in next time for one more episode of Spotlight on the Arts, where we bring you artists from our community so that you can know their crafts and continue to feel empowered through expression. This is Johnny Miranda, Chairman of the Chicopee Cultural Council. Till next time.